Good afternoon, everyone. Carasoft would like to welcome you to our webinar, Pixel Perfect Tableau Reporting for New York City and New York State Government. At this time, I would like to introduce our speakers for today. Tableau Software's Strategic Account Executive, Randy Davidson. UserReady's Customer Success Manager, Ani Calva. UserReady's Practice Area Director, Caitlin Garger, and UserReady's Director, Manish Rakheja. And with that, team, the floor is all yours.
There we go. Excellent. Thank you very much, Jaslyn. My name is Randy Davidson. I'm the Tableau account executive. I've been covering New York City government and New York State government for over 10 years now. We got a great footprint of Tableau in both of those, both the city and the state. Over the years, we've been hearing a lot about Tableau is awesome for dashboards, visualization, modern reporting. However, a lot of agencies are still using Oracle Business Intelligence or Cognos or um, um, SAP Business Objects for a lot of their like formatted static reporting needs. So there's a lot of Cognos, a lot of those tools in the state and in the city. Over the years, a lot of agencies have asked me how we can do some of that stuff. And we can. So good news is we can do a lot of those reporting needs now. With that, I thought it'd be great to introduce all of my clients and prospects to UserReady. UserReady is one of the best system integrators for both commercial and public sector for Tableau we have. So they have a great solution for this. I thought it'd be a great idea to introduce them, introduce the add-on tool that they have for Tableau that can let agencies do a lot of this pixel perfect formatted, static reporting needs out there. Because a lot of agencies have asked me about it. So with that, I'm not going to talk much more. I'm going to turn it over to Caitlin, who's going to take you through the solution here. Thank you all very much for joining. I think we have, over 100 people that are on the call. We had about 216 register for the call. So that's a great activity here. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Caitlin at UserReady. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Randy. Welcome, everyone. We have a lot of information that we want to provide to you today. A little bit of an agenda just so that we can get a little bit organized here. A quick, brief intro about who we are at UserReady. We're going to dive into an overall overview of our framework, then talk specifically about Pixel Perfect Reporting. And also what goes hand in hand with Pixel Perfect Reporting is our modernization process with Migrator IQ. And then, of course, have some time at the end for Q&A. So don't want to spend too much time, but it is important to give a little bit of a background before we dive into today's topic. UserReady started back in 2011, founded by leaders who came out of Wall Street. And in those early days in 2011, Tableau was really just getting started and making waves. And we were among the first to bring it into a large-scale regulated enterprises. And there was a combination of deep data expertise and a new way of delivering insights that really shaped our DNA as a company. And over time, we've grown into a global team, now over 500 strong, across the US, Canada, Singapore, and India. And while our footprint has expanded, our focus has always stayed balanced between data and insights. On one side, we help organizations build value from their data with modernizing platforms and engineering pipelines and creating strong governed foundations. And on the other hand, we focus on turning that data into decision intelligence through analytics, storytelling, and business insights that drive action. So that's where a lot of our proprietary solutions come into play as well. Frameworks like Migrator IQ, which we'll get introduced to later, and products like Pixel Perfect Reporting, we built to help clients move from legacy BI systems to modern platforms faster without losing any of those reporting needs that they have. So that's why today's conversation is really a natural fit for us. Many of our clients still rely heavily on highly formatted pixel perfect reports for either compliance purposes or customer communications or operational processes. So as we walk through the session, you can sort of think of this as our sweet spot, combining the left brain with the engineering accuracy in the migration piece, along with the right brain, delivering reports and dashboards that are not just accurate, but elegant and impactful. And it's one thing to say that we specialize in migration and modernization, and it's another thing to show that we've done it at scale and in complex environments. So over the past decade, we've been part of more than 30 or more than 150 modernization projects covering BI platforms, ETL frameworks, data warehouses, data lakes. And that's over 30,000 legacy BI reports that have been translated into advanced visualizations and cloud native solutions. And over 100,000 ETL pipelines re-engineered for the cloud as well. But of course, the numbers only tell part of the story. On average, our customers see about a 65% reduction in effort during their modernization journey. So it means projects get done faster with fewer headaches, and teams can then spend more time innovating instead of just keeping the lights on. And we're able to do that because we don't reinvent the wheel every time. We've built and fine-tuned a framework that's been tested across industries and across use cases. So most organizations we work with are still running on legacy BI tools like Cognos, MicroStrategy, Hyperion, Qlik, and they've been workhorses for years and have solid reporting capabilities, but they weren't built for today's needs. Things like fast and interactive and self-service dashboards at scale. So that's why so many teams are looking to modern platforms like Tableau. But like Randy said, we hear some concerns, right? One, we still need highly formatted pixel perfect reports for compliance or customer facing documents. And that's what we like to categorize as the last mile problem. And we solve that with pixel perfect reporting. And then the second concern is sometimes migration just seems like too daunting of a task, right? Migration from legacy to modern solutions is just too hard. So that's where our Migrator IQ framework and process comes into place. We'll talk about that a little bit further. But to make this a little bit more fun, because I know sometimes webinars, we throw a lot of information out at you and it's a lot to digest. To make it a little bit more fun, we're going to tackle both of these challenges in sort of a Mythbuster style format. I don't know if anyone has seen that show or familiar with the show, but Mythbusters was all about taking popular myths and testing them out and proving once and for all whether they were true or busted. So we're going to do the same thing here, starting with our first myth, that you can't export formatted reports with Tableau. Of course, again, Tableau was built for interactive visual data exploration, not exploring, right? Its architecture is prioritizing real-time filtering, drill downs, and insights through discovery, right? Letting the data guide you. Of course, we have our legacy tools like Crystal Reports, SSRS, MicroStrategy, that all deliver the static report, that pixel perfect output every time, but it doesn't have that flexibility or on-screen usability like Tableau does. Of course, exports still matter for compliance purposes, board decks, offline analysis, maybe ad hoc edits. And when we try to take our beautifully crafted dashboards out of Tableau, that's when sometimes we hit some challenges. Right? Some people have found that there's some formatting loss. Some dashboard level formatting elements like a header or a footer or layout alignment, maybe corporate branding, it may not carry over when exporting individual sheets or views. This can require a few adjustments in that exported file to match the intended design, especially for more complex layouts. When exporting to maybe Excel or other formats, there might be some issues with data type differences, right? Maybe a number gets exported as a date or as a text. Dates lose specific formatting that you had put into Tableau. And this might require some light cleanup before using the file for further analysis or integrating with other tools. Tableau's exports don't automatically insert page breaks for printing or PDF output as well, right? There might be long tables or dashboards that are longer in nature that may appear as a continuous page, or sometimes we'll see that scroll bar as well. So I'm only seeing partial content in the printout. Maybe you want to have some sort of edit you need to make, right? Maybe you have post-exporting editing needs. Like I need to change where this is laid out. What number is this annotation? And when I have that static format printout in PDF or PowerPoint, it's designed to preserve the view exactly as you saw it in Tableau, which means I can't just easily edit this. So this may require some extra steps for last-minute adjustments or adding custom labels. And also, Tableau does not include built-in report bursting, right? So automatically creating and distributing customized versions of a report to multiple recipients. We have subscriptions, but maybe you need that customized formatted look to be burst out to a bunch of different people. So as there's additional tools and scripts you can have, it's not part of the core export functionality. So before we dive in a little bit more to this comparison, I'd also love to hear from everyone who's on the call. So Jasmine, if we can launch our first poll, that would be great. Give everyone a moment to just let us know what your biggest challenge with reporting is today, right? Some people have formatting issues, mainly it's pagination. Maybe it's just the fact that you need more options to export. But again, the legacy tools that we have, like Cognos and MicroStrategy, they've all been the gold standard for cranking out clean and paginated reports, perfect for compliance, financial statements, operational summaries. They're solid and dependable, but not exactly built for today's needs for interactivity and self-service and also scalability. So that's where Tableau shines: interactive dashboards, modern visualizations, organization-wide reach. But what it doesn't do right out of the box is that pixel perfect document style report that a lot of industries just can't live without. So that's where pixel perfect reporting fills that gap, and it brings the best of both worlds together. So what I want to do here is get a little bit more detailed, understand a little bit more about the different capabilities of Pixel Perfect. I mean, we've just walked through a big picture, how pairing Tableau with Pixel Perfect can really check all the boxes. But I do want to get a little bit deeper into the details here. So Anirudh, I'd love for you to walk us through some of the standout Pixel Perfect features. And then it would be awesome if we can also see this sort of come to life with a quick demo.
Thank you. Thank you, Caitlin. Hello, everyone. I'm Anirudh. I'm part of the Pixel Perfect team. So today we'll talk about the two core solutions of Pixel Perfect. One is the on-demand reporting. The second is report bursting. So on-demand feature is the capability of directly downloading a highly formatted print-ready report directly from your existing Tableau dashboard. So Pixel Perfect supports all the major report formats. So be it a PDF, PowerPoint, Excel, CSV, or Word, Pixel Perfect supports all. So these reports could include features like grouping and pagination, formatting, like adding headers and footers, title to the report, or maybe embedding visuals or charts into your existing reports. The second part of the solution is a report bursting. Now, the same reports can be used to be distributed to your end users. So here again, the gaps that we're trying to solve are being able to distribute the reports in any format. So whether it's a PDF, Excel, Word, or a CSV file, you're able to distribute these reports to your end users. And secondly, you're also able to distribute these files or have these files saved to a shared location, like an SFTP or Google Drive or an S3 bucket. So with this, we will take a look at how each of the solutions look like. With that, I would like to start sharing my screen so that we see a quick demo. So for today's session, I would like to focus on any two use cases, right? We'll focus on an Excel report, and we'll also take a look at a PDF output. And I hope my screen is visible, and you see a dashboard by the name Charge Outs by Site. So we first talk about on-demand, so which is the capability of Pixel Perfect of generating a report from an existing dashboard on a single click of a button. Now, this dashboard has been enabled with Pixel Perfect for two different report types, one a PDF and an Excel. For this dashboard, we'll take a look at an Excel. So on a single click, I'm able to generate a report from this dashboard. Sorry about that. I'll have to click on it again. All right. So while it's generating, we'll just take a look at a couple of charts or tables that have been placed on this dashboard. And obviously the formatting part of it as well. So there's a table or a cross tab, right? Arranged in a certain format. You have these headers and you have certain formatting with respect to the color. And then the table, so there's this color code as well. And one important thing to notice is a scroll, right? So this table has a scroll as well. Now below that, we have two bar charts, right? One for budget by account grouping, another one for forecast by account grouping. Now we'll take a look at the report that has been generated using the Pixel Perfect extension. Right? So while it's opening, the goal here is to ensure that the formatting is retained, there is no loss of data, and we're able to add any kind of formatting that we would like to add. So this is the exact report that has been generated. So so to the same Excel report. So one, we're able to name the tab. We're able to add a logo to the table, sorry, a logo to the report. We have a title to the report. We're able to display all the filters selected in the dashboard. And below that, we have the cross tab. So the important points to notice here is one, the formatting, right? So all the formattings uh, that were made in the Tableau worksheet are retained in the Excel export as well. So you have the background colors and every data point here can actually copy paste it. I mean, you can actually select it as well. The color coding has been retained, right? And most important, there is no loss of data. So even though there was a scroll in the dashboard, Pixel Perfect ensures that there is no loss of data and the entire data is exported before exporting the next report item. And below that, we have both the charts exported as well. So this is one example of a report of a highly formatted Excel report. The next example that I would like to showcase is a PDF report. Now so this is one of our dashboards created out of the sample Superstore data set. And this dashboard has been enabled for multiple extensions. So we have two PDF extensions, we have one Excel extension and one PowerPoint extension. So for this, we'll take a look at the PDF output. So again, on a single click, I would be generating a report off of this. And again, while it's generating, we'll just take a look at the different worksheets and the layout of the entire dashboard. So this dashboard again has a logo, a title to the report, a couple of filters and parameters, two charts, followed by a cross tab. Cross tab again has a scroll, and there is no formatting at all. All right, so the report has been generated, and in a second, we'll take a look at the report generated from this dashboard. Now let's take a look at the features of this report. So we're able to customize this report, customize this PDF report so that it has a cover page. Now the cover page has a logo, a title to the report. It's got the table of contents as well. And each row here is actually hyperlink enabled. So you click and you can navigate to the relevant page. Every page of this report has a header and footer configured. The header has a title, a logo, and the footer contains the current date time stamp or the report generated time, a confidentiality message, a website URL, and most important, it's page numbered. You see the total number of pages in the workbook, in the export, and the current page number. Scrolling down. So Pixel Perfect gives you the flexibility of defining the layout for your report. Like for example, we started with the cover page, and now page 2, we started with displaying the filters. So I'll just switch back to the dashboard for a second. So whatever regions are selected, or for that matter, any filter that is selected, right? You can actually see all the filters being displayed here. All the selected filter values getting displayed. Similarly, we can, in case you want to have the parameter values or the tableau parameter values displayed, you could do that as well. So below that, we have both the visualizations, right? Both the charts displayed. And below that, we have the crosstab from Tableau, right? In the form of a well-formatted table. Here again, I would like to highlight a couple of features. So one, there is no loss of data. So even though the table was set to fit into the second page right after the charts, since there was more data, it ensures that there is no loss of data and the additional data spills over to the next page. Right? So that way, Pixel Perfect ensures there is no loss of data in terms of the number of rows. And in fact, it also ensures that there is no loss in the number of columns as well. So you might be aware that readability wise, you can read a maximum of 50 columns data within a Tableau crosstab, the crosstab in a Tableau workbook, right? But when it comes to Pixel Perfect, so as long as that column is available in a worksheet, you're able to export all and all values being displayed. So there's no concatenation when it comes to the actual values. Now coming back to this table. So one, there's no loss of data. It's ensuring that there's a page break set and the entire data is getting displayed before the next item or the next report item being displayed. And on top of that, there is flexibility of adding conditional formatting too. So you've got the table here. Now let's say for your reporting needs, you want to add some additional formatting. Like in this case, we have three measures. I mean, we have a couple of measures, but we've selected three measures. We've chosen sales, profit, and profit per order to have some additional conditional formatting. For example, sales wanted the font to be colored in green if it is more than a certain value. And for profit, if it's a negative number, color the cell in red. And profit per order has the same condition, but for the font color. So similarly, I mean, there are various ways, plenty of options to work with that. But in short, yes, any additional kind of formatting that you would like to have is possible using Pixel Perfect. Now scrolling down further, right? So Pixel Perfect also gives you the ability to stitch together reports coming in from different sources as well. When I say different sources, so it could be charts and tables coming in from an entirely different dashboard or a different workbook. So that is on-demand reporting in short. So with that, I would like to showcase the next feature of Pixel Perfect, which is report bursting. Now, the same reports that we saw can actually be automated and scheduled to be sent over to the end users. And how? We'll take a look at it. So as an explorer or as a creator, I can edit the workbook so that I'm able to configure that extension. I'll select the extension, and when I click on configure, it opens up the front-end application for Pixel Perfect. It's called the web folio. So the entire Pixel Perfect configuration, so whether it's enabling the dashboard with this button or whether it's setting up the report bursting schedules, everything is done using the web folio. So at a high level, I'll show you how the template configuration is done or the icon configuration is done. So the first step is you define the layout, how you want the end report to look like. Then you configure it. So here's a set of simple drop downs, which lets you choose the different worksheets that need to be part of your final report. And finally, the third step is the distribution piece. So this is where we see the two solutions, on demand and report bursting. Now switching over to report bursting. Now let's say we want the same report, the same PDF report to be sent out, right? Or distributed via email. So if you switch to burst, choose the same configuration. Now this configuration has been created to support PDF and PowerPoint. But yes, it supports all the formats, PDF, PowerPoint, CSV, Excel, and Word. Right? Depending upon which format you would like to be used for distribution purposes, you choose that format. Next, coming to the report name. So you could have it take the default name, or you could have a custom name and append the current date as well. In case you want the report to be password protected, you could do that too. Now moving on to the right side where you set up the actual schedule. So we go to burst, and now here when we click on, I'll repeat that step. So you click on edit configuration. So Pixel Perfect has the ability to identify all the users and the user groups that are already configured in your Tableau environment. So whether it's Tableau Cloud or Tableau Server, it automatically identifies them. So here you choose the different users that you would like to send, that you'd like to have them receive the reports. Create a mapping group, and then click on select. Next, choose the frequency at which they would like to receive the reports. And this could be just this one time, or you could have them set up a recurring schedule. This again can be at an hourly basis, daily, weekly, monthly, or even a custom schedule. And next, the mode of distribution. So one is via email, and the second is to a shared drive like an SFTP, Google Drive, or an S3. So if it's an email, we click on yes, and it opens a pop-up where you can customize your email, body, and subject. So here, if you look at it, the recipient list, it's automatically mapped to the mapping group that we selected previously. So in the back end, there are multiple emails triggered for all the users that are part of this group. And one other important point to note here is the row level security. So if your Tableau dashboard has row level security or any kind of a user level entitlement implemented, report bursting ensures that the end users receive a report only to the amount of data that they are entitled to view. You give a subject to the email, body to the email, and then click on save. And these jobs can be monitored, the last tab, right? So all the jobs that have been scheduled in the past, the ones that have been completed, the ones that have been scheduled to run at a later point in time, right? And the ones that are currently in progress. So this is Pixel Perfect, the high level. So over to you, Caitlin. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anirudh. So we'll get back to our myth busting here. So we just went through all the details on Pixel Perfect, very well thought out and easy to follow. So thank you. So I think we can say for this first one that myth is busted, right? We can export formatted reports with Tableau with Pixel Perfect. And I know, Jaslyn, thank you for launching that second poll. Which capability do you think you and your team can benefit from the most? Hopefully it's both, but we'll kind of want to see a little bit of a competition there of on-demand reporting or report bursting. So that moves us on to our second myth, because again, going hand in hand from a legacy tool to Tableau, even if you can still do formatted reporting, it might still be a little bit daunting to get there, right? Sometimes migration just seems like too hard of a task. Feels like a massive undertaking. So wanted to kind of go over some of the perceived deterrents to migration. The first, of course, being time, right? Leaders have to worry about the process, right? Is this going to stretch on for months or even years before results are seen? Every dashboard and report feels like it has to maybe be rebuilt one by one, and that seems like it's going to take too much time, which of course can slow momentum and also push the benefits of Tableau far into the future. Then there's also the complexity of the migration. Legacy systems often hold years worth of embedded business logic and intricate calculations and tightly coupled data models. And those elements don't translate directly to Tableau sometimes and often need to be redesigned from the ground up. Without the right expertise and structure, that work can seem endless and also overwhelming. On top of that, migrations can be inefficient. Many organizations move everything as is, carrying over outdated reports, maybe unused dashboards, and also redundant data sets. So this not only adds to the workload, but also clutters the new environment, making it harder to find and focus on the reports that actually drive decisions. So migration is also a rare chance to streamline, yet without that plan, that opportunity is lost. Cost, of course, is another factor, both the obvious expense and the hidden ones. Budgeting for migration can be tricky with resource time, technology needs. Those costs, they add up quickly. And leadership often hesitates when the return on investment isn't clearly defined, especially if they expect a long wait before seeing tangible value. And of course, there's the fear of any business disruption, right? Leaders have to worry that mission critical reports are available. If they're unavailable at key moments, that obviously will be a problem. Also, teams might be juggling between two systems at once, or the staff might struggle to adapt a new platform while still trying to meet their day-to-day demands. And all these concerns are understandable, but they're not inevitable. With our proven 4-step framework, which I'll walk through shortly here, we can tackle each of these challenges head on, making the process faster, more efficient, and far less disruptive. And the result is a clean, more modern Tableau environment that delivers value from day one. So I want to go over our 4-step process here that has to do with our what we call migrator IQ, modernization process. Starts off with discovery, gets into planning, then we talk about the migration itself, and then we have that opportunity to modernize our solutions. So with step 1, with discovery, right, this is where we have to take the time to understand exactly what exists in that current BI environment, because you can't plan an efficient migration if you don't know what you're working with. So we actually start with a tool-based assessment, and using our navigator tool, we run a source BI inventory collection that captures key details. Everything from the count of tabs and objects to how many calculated dimensions do you have, how many custom SQL queries, what are the unions, joins, everything that's making up your workbooks. And this gives us a clear, data-driven picture of that current landscape. Next, we feed that information into our estimator. This allows us to apply a t-shirt sizing approach to each item in that inventory, scoring it based on complexity and aligning it with our effort benchmarks. And this step is really critical. It helps us quickly identify what's simple to migrate, what might take a little bit more work, and also where consolidation opportunities might exist. From there, we move into the proposal phase, using the insights from what we gathered from the navigator and the estimator. We create a high-level plan that includes that migration roadmap, estimated timelines, and overall effort. And this proposal becomes the foundation for the planning phase, ensuring that we start with realistic expectations and a shared understanding of the scope. So by the end of the discovery phase, we have not just a list of what needs to be moved, but a clear, quantified picture of effort, complexity, and opportunity. So the migration is strategic, not just a lift and shift. Second step is that planning, where we take everything we learned from the discovery phase and turn it into a strategic migration program. So we prioritize content by balancing the business value against complexity, using a 4-quadrant approach. This helps us focus on migrating what truly matters, right? There might be content that scores low in business value and low in complexity, so we tolerate it, but we don't rush it, since it doesn't really drive that much impact. On the other hand, there might be high complexity but low value dashboards or workbooks that are clear candidates for elimination. Maybe they just don't justify the migration effort if they aren't giving us a lot of value and they're very complex. So our real focus is on the assets with high business value, regardless of the complexity, because they deliver the greatest impact for the organization. And to optimize that migration, we use a rationalization framework, what we call the 4 Rs, which is going to be reduce, reconcile, refactor, and reimagine. Right? We want to identify and eliminate content that no longer adds value and doesn't need to be migrated. No need to migrate it if we're actually not going to be using it going forward. We want to consolidate duplicate reports or data sets to avoid redundancy. We've often seen multiple versions of similar reports scattered across different teams, such as several sales performance dashboards with slightly different metrics. And rather than migrating them all, it's important to consolidate those into a single dashboard that provides a consistent source of truth. Then migrate content that's still valuable but may need to be reworked or updated for Tableau. Maybe there's some complex logic or format that doesn't really translate well to Tableau, or in these cases, we migrate the core content but refactor it to work optimally in Tableau. Maybe update a calculation or redesign a layout for better performance and usability. And because we're doing all this, this is the perfect opportunity to modernize as well. Maybe we have the opportunity to redesign some dashboards, add new features, and leverage Tableau's strengths. Right? And this planning approach ensures that the migration effort is efficient, it's focused, and it positions Tableau as a tool for both reporting and innovation. Of course, next is actual migration, and this is where planning turns into action, right? We execute the migration wave by wave, guided by the prioritized actions identified through that 4Rs rationalization framework. So each wave is focused on the manageable set of content that's aligned to business priorities and complexity. And data preparation is a critical foundation here, right? We use specialized tools. We automatically discover the source data models and extract any embedded business logic. This allows us to generate a metric store and translate complex data models into Tableau-ready structures, which is going to reduce the manual effort and also reduce errors. For target conversions, we leverage AI-powered utilities to convert legacy calculations into things like Tableau's level of detail expressions. There's automation there that accelerates the migration process while also ensuring accuracy and consistency in our key metrics. And of course, a big part of this, it's not just moving content, but it's validating, right? So validation is that key step where we can make sure we're running a comprehensive check to compare migrated outputs against the source reports, right? This helps catch any discrepancies early and ensure confidence in that migrated content. And also a big part of this is that we don't overlook people. Like I mentioned before, there might be some sort of hesitation from staff or a little bit frustration from staff because I'm moving from one report that I've been used to for years onto something new. So we do have user enablement and training that are going to be customized to either user personas, right, whether it's executives or analysts or operational staff, and make sure that they're ready to drive adoption and that they're comfortable and empowered to use the new Tableau environment effectively. And the last step here, of course, is how can we modernize, right? This phase allows us to evolve from the new tool, from a new tool to a strategic platform for innovation. It's not just new, it's innovative. So we can implement advanced AI and analytics capabilities that transform how users interact with data, right? This includes AI agents that proactively surface insights. We have AI-driven personalization that tailors dashboards and alerts to individual roles, and being able to put in enabled and embedded analytics that integrate Tableau seamlessly into your workflow, right? So taking advantage of all of those Tableau capabilities, making sure that it's not just the cool visualizations that we see, but they're actually allowing us to have a data-driven action at the end of the day, right? Ensuring that the Tableau environment delivers sustained value, agility, and scalability well beyond just the initial migration. So don't want to spend too much time on all the little details of Migrator IQ. Of course, we can get into more of that from Q&A and later on discussions if anyone's interested. But when it comes to myth busting, I think we can say that the second one of it being just too hard is busted, right? We have that framework. It makes it easier, makes a lot of that process automated, and making sure that we can validate along the way so that we're confident in the results. So before we get into the Q&A, I do want us to launch our last poll so we can actually get a better understanding of where everyone sits in regards to BI migration. So one, what is your current BI reporting tool? And also if there is some sort of planned timeline for your organization to migrate, what does that look like if you do know about it? So with that, we're going to open up. I know we probably have a lot of questions coming in. I'm going to be trying to monitor those until we hit everything. So, okay, so we have a few questions that come in earlier, and I'm going to request that Ani and Manish, you can help me answer some of these. But number one, can you add multiple attachments while bursting reports in Pixel Perfect? I know that's probably a big one.
Yes. So the answer to that is yes. So like we discussed earlier, so Pixel Perfect can support to 5 formats, the major report formats: PDF, Excel, Word, CSV, and PowerPoint. And yes, it gives you the option to attach multiple report formats.
Awesome. Another one with Pixel Perfect. Does Pixel Perfect handle row level security or RLS when generating reports?
Yes. So irrespective of what is the mode of distribution, so whether it's on-demand reporting or whether it's report bursting, Pixel Perfect ensures that row level security or any kind of user level entitlement is applied on the final reports as well.
Awesome. What is the estimated timeline? This might be for Manish. What is the estimated timeline for migrating all existing reports to Tableau?
Uh, yes. So the timeline for the migration essentially depends on multiple factors, which is like the number and the complexity of reports, and if there is any available documentation that kind of accelerates the whole process, and the level of redesigning required. And to ensure the accuracy, what we follow is a assessment based approach, where we, like as Kathleen you mentioned, right, that we take a cognizance of the report inventory and the complexity before finalizing the timeline.
Okay. No, that's super helpful. Thank you. Have some other ones as well. Let me just make sure I'm also looking at some of the Q&A because I know it's coming in from the chat and the Q&A over here. So let me bring up question, and if anyone else has ones that I've missed, please let me know because I do not want to miss any of them over here. Another one.
Me too.
Yes, go right ahead, Manish, if you saw one.
Just
All right, my next one is, do you have any training or enablement programs to increase user adoption?
Yes, as we covered earlier, right, in our presentation as well, we have a very well structured migration advisory program, which includes the Tableau training sessions, webinars, doctor sessions, and the community building activities as well, which is personified, right, for analysts, Tableau admins, business users, and so that's our strategy, right? So we believe in user adoption is the key for the success of a migration project.
No, yeah, I completely agree on that. I know that's also just with I do a lot of the doctor sessions myself, and
Right.
sometimes it's just a little bit difficult to know what questions to ask or to Google. So we need that sort of training and mentorship sort of sometimes. This is a good one. Will my current dashboards be recreated from scratch in Tableau, or will Migrator IQ transfer them automatically? No, it can be kind of daunting. Let's do a bunch of recreate.
Yes. Yeah, so it depends again, right? So we usually follow a hybrid strategy here or a semi-automated strategy. We automate what is feasible, like data sources, and if your report has a basic visuals or so that can be automated to a good extent. Validation is a fully automated process in our case. While we recommend that if you have some critical dashboards, then we recommend to rebuild those because that helps to improve the usability and the performance and meet the overall objective of the migration.
Thank you. Some other questions as well. How are the Pixel Perfect reports designed and created? So back to you, Ani, on this one. You spoke about converting existing reports, but what does it look like when you're creating a new one?
Right. So when you're creating a new report, so every report would require a template design, and a template design is required to define a layout to the end report. So when you're building a new one, so if you're building a new report, yes, you would want to design a template, and by template, it's again a drag and drop. So wherein you have a designer which captures all the metadata from a given workbook, and you drag and drop different elements or different report items onto the template to create that structure. Hope that answers.
Yeah, and I think too, if you do have an interest in seeing like more detailed demos and kind of seeing that webfolio and things like that, that designer, I think we can take that offline, where we can actually see more of that demo. Some other questions in here. when bursting, can you utilize a field in the row of data as a filter? Like, and also, could you use an email in the row of data to be the destination when bursting? I think two-part question. I think the first one, if I'm taking it correctly, can you like cycle through uh rows of data and as a filter, like if it was different categories and bursting out to specific people? And then also, could you use an email in the row of data to be the destination when bursting? So for specific people. And Robert, if I'm not getting that question correctly, please let me know. But I think that's what it is. So, Ani,
All right,
mainly,
yes.
can you cycle through filters? Yeah.
Filters. Yes, yes, yeah. So, yeah, I
Yes.
was answering that question first. So when it comes to, okay, okay, let's take an example of the same workbook that we saw some time back. So your dashboard has data for, say, 4 regions, and you would want to map, the way I understand the question is, you would want to map a certain value, let's say the north value on the region to a certain set of individuals, south to a certain set of individuals, east to say a few, and then west to few. Is that possible? Is that the right understanding?
I think that's my understanding of the question. If it isn't,
Okay,
yeah,
yes.
I believe that
If
you
that
summed
is
it up
the
correctly.
case, yes, yes, it can be. So two ways. So one way is, we saw the row-level security, right? The report bursting feature, where if there is a row-level security already applied on your dashboards, it automatically translates to your Pixel Perfect reporting as well. But in case you would want to do that to uh, email addresses, that can also be done. So you have a custom burst option wherein you can map certain emails. So just like how it's similar to, if you're aware of the user filter in Tableau, it's similar to that. You can actually map an email address to certain values of a certain field. That's totally doable. And the second question is if there are emails in the data, so if we can dynamically pick it up from there and have it sent out. So this is technically feasible. So though we don't have that feature available right now, it's technically feasible.
Awesome. I'm gonna also another question, I think around the similar lines, and I don't know if you've already answered it here. But it says in pagination, could you create things like letters? For example, if I have 1,000 rows of data, one per person, could I set it up to create a report that is 1,000 pages long with a letter per page? It's functioning a bit like mail merge there, but there's a thing that's a key thing that we do in Crystal Report. So if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken,
yes,
yeah.
yes. Great question. And if I can share my screen for a minute, I think I'll just take
Go
1 minute
right
to explain this, and we have a demo ready for that. Right. So this is one of the demo use cases, again, showcasing the same functionality that was just explained. So this table has a different row for each medical device, right? And this has been built for PDF report. So, and based on the filter selection on the right. So in this case, now we just have a few of them selected. We have about 13 medical devices selected and 13 different rows in one table. So the ask is if we can have a paginated report, right? So one page for each medical device. So I think that would be a fair comparison. Now this is the report that has been generated. So now there have been 13 different selections done, 13 different medical devices, and it's a 26-page report, exactly the double. So 2 pages allocated for each medical device. So Pixel Perfect is, yes, so this is a regulatory use case, totally supported by Pixel Perfect, wherein Pixel Perfect loops into the data and paginates it, groups the data based on each value of that field, and then prints it separately in each page. So in this case, page 1 and 2 are meant for a medical device ID that ends in 294. Similarly, 3 and 4 for a completely different medical device. Hope that
Awesome.
answers.
I think it does. Of course, if there's any more specific questions too, and you need to have a separate demo with that team, more than happy
Yes.
to set that time up where we can answer all the specific questions just because there's all different scenarios here. Another question, is it just at the workbook level or does the server need something for these to work as well?
Okay, so that's again Pixel Perfect, I'm assuming.
Yes, yes.
Okay, yes.
Yes.
So the way the way that works is yes. So Pixel Perfect is an extension, and there is a different infra that is set up for Pixel Perfect to run, and at the admin side of it, there is a connection established between the Pixel Perfect server and your Tableau server or Tableau cloud. And once you add the extension onto a given dashboard, so that connection is set up and you're able to configure it.
Awesome. Some other questions, and this more has to do with getting their hands on Pixel Perfect. One question around, is it possible to get a copy of like a trial or some sort of standalone version for testing for Pixel Perfect?
Right. We generally do POCs. Obviously, if we can always reach out to them. Yes, we do POCs where you could try this product by yourself.
Awesome. And kind of jumping off of that too, there was a separate question of, is there a Pixel Perfect extension that we can like again use ourselves, or is it a consulting arrangement where you do the work for us? Could you just explain a little bit about that, just as a general, how does the POC process work?
Right. I mean, we work different ways. When we work with customers where we do the development part and then we uh, push it to production, or sometimes we enable the users from the client's end to learn Pixel Perfect and then have them enabled by themselves. I mean, there are different models that we work with. So this again, we can take it separately when we discuss.
Awesome. And I know there was one last question about seeing that template designer. I think if, of course, I know we have a few minutes here. If you wanted to show that, that's fine. If we wanted to have a separate session, specifically on, with individual teams who have more questions about Pixel Perfect, we can do that as well. But I think I don't see any other questions in the Q&A or the chat. Feel free to, I know we still have a few minutes here if my clock is correct. But also just want to thank everyone for joining. I know, Jaslyn, you might have a few words as well, but I'm just going to keep the contact information up on the screen for everyone if you want to take a quick screenshot or anything like that, write anything down. Or of course, if any other questions come into play, we'll be more than happy to answer them. I just want to thank everyone for their time. I know an hour is sometimes difficult to block out in your calendar, so I appreciate it.